Pull out your hose and grab your can. We're about to integrate another Pest Geek podcast. Hi, everybody. Frank Hernandez here, and welcome to the Pest Geek podcast, bringing you the latest news, products, and politics from today's leading industry pros, offering you their technical marketing and growth strategies to give you, the pest management professional, that killer edge. Hey, hi, everybody. This is Frank Hernandez, the Pest Geek, and I have on the phone today Terri Mason. Terri is the managing director of HowToGoSocial, a social media site that teaches people how to use social media. So, Terri, welcome to the program.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's nice. I read your article, and I said, man, this is such a good article. I need to bring her on board because she's got a lot to offer PMPs.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and helping them how to get done in social media. I thought it was very, very good. So tell us a little bit about you and a little bit of HowToGoSocial, because it's not a dating site. Okay, so I got that. So tell people what it is.
HowToGoSocial is a social marketing company. I help companies get in on the conversation through Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, you name it, anything that's a social platform. And by doing so, I help them grow their customer base and their overall business.
Gotcha. Yeah, because it took me a little while to really get into the social media since I'm a traditional marketer. I've been in sales since I was 16, and traditional sales and marketing. So social media was a little bit different for me. So explain to people what's the difference, the fundamental differences between social media and your traditional marketing medias.
Oh, yeah, sure. Well, traditional marketing is a one-way discussion, right? So, you submit an article to a local newspaper, you advertise in the yellow pages, and you just hope that somebody sees what you've got there, but you'll never really know until you have tracking devices in place to see how the calls and the business is coming in. Through social media, it's a two-way conversation. You create a topic of interest and you start having a discussion. You don't necessarily always talk about yourself, but you find a medium that's of interest to both you and your potential client. And then that way, they start to build more trust within you and they feel more comfortable buying from you. And that ultimately, I think, is the main point of social media.
Yeah, it's with me. I've never been one of those brilliant marketers, and I do mostly consulting is really where so I enjoy always the one-on-one discussions with people. And when I discovered I could do that with social media, it was more natural for me to do that than send out postcards. So that to me was, I had to finally have that paradigm shift in my mind that this is perfect for my type of business and what I do. You find that in your coaching that you have to help people deal with that paradigm shift?
Absolutely. People have a very difficult time making that transition, but once they begin creating a conversation, it just comes very easy. And not only is it easier, I think, for the business to create the discussion, but the user or your client is more honest in their approach with you. They tell you how they feel, and because there is kind of this anonymous barrier, they're a little bit more honest in their feedback. So you can also find a way to improve your business as well as increasing your business.
Gotcha. Yeah, because it's not your traditional sales call where you're calling somebody at 8:00 when they're having dinner, or you're knocking at their door. They kind of feel a little bit more comfortable, interacting and opening up about things. And I can see that because it's not imposing on them. They're volunteering to talk to you.
Exactly.
Yeah, got it. Okay. So now let's talk a little bit about, because I mostly used to hang out on Facebook and, just with my friends and people that I talk to that are interesting, but I didn't use it in my business yet. And I wanted to know the difference between, because I have a LinkedIn page and I have mostly professional people on there and people in the industry that I deal with, my bankers, lawyers, entomologists. I see that it's not the same with Facebook than with LinkedIn and or Twitter for that matter. And they all have their little, their own little nuances of what they do and how people interact. And can you help us out a little bit with understanding that?
Absolutely. I mean, you nailed it. All of those platforms I think, have a different purpose, especially depending on your industry. In the pest management industry, I do find that Facebook is a great platform for connecting with your clients and potential clients if you're doing more business to buyer, business to client marketing. If you're doing more business to business, LinkedIn is fantastic for that because it is a more professional platform. But even still, I find that LinkedIn is a great resource for you for knowledge and connecting with your peers, understanding your competition, and definitely promoting your business still within LinkedIn. And then Twitter is an entity within itself. I mean, you can use that for all kinds of research and understanding what kind of opportunities might be available to you through using hashtags. But that's probably a whole nother discussion.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at with my customers locally. I started to use Facebook, and to get LinkedIn with all the real pros out there, people that do this on a very scientific level. I started using my LinkedIn account, and then my Twitter account. I'm kind of using it to help the podcast with the PMPs, getting out my news feeds, and because they're little short news feeds that they can just decide whether they want to read them or not. I think that's the way I started using it, and using them all from a different angle to better serve the person that I'm trying to actually hook up with. But so how can for LinkedIn specifically, how can a PCO? And let's talk a little bit about do's and don'ts, because there's etiquettes that we don't understand. I mean, if you're a traditional door knocker and you are used to knocking on doors and getting them slammed in your face, you kind of try to apply the same tactics with online marketing, and it backfires on you. So yeah, talk a little bit about how the let's talk about the don'ts first and tactics, and how they can actually use LinkedIn to help grow their business without getting, the proverbial door shut in your face.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the first thing is be professional. That's the most important thing. Facebook is great for being kind of funny and humorous. LinkedIn is very serious. Don't crack jokes. Don't say anything that you have to question yourself about. Don't always post about yourself. It can be perceived as spamming, and that is a big no-no. People do not want to see a constant post about everything you're doing. They really want to hear more about something that's more of interest to them, what's happening in the industry, new products that are out there, more green-friendly approaches to pest management, things like that. But you really want to build a very strong, credible personality on LinkedIn. And the first thing is by creating a very good, strong profile, using the keywords that are going to attract people to your profile. The other thing is, of course, having a LinkedIn page. So many businesses don't. And it's great for SEO, but it's great that's where you can do, great accomplishments, things that you've done that set you apart in the industry. Anything, new hires, anything that you think would be valuable to your business should be posted there on the LinkedIn page. Then there are also groups, and I think groups are a wonderful resource for everybody. Find the groups that have the largest number of members, but also have frequent updates. You don't necessarily have to add updates yourself, but it's very important that you follow news, follow individuals that are going to benefit your business, and learn more. It's a great way to connect with your peers and also find out what your competition is doing.
Gotcha. Yes, because so the social media sites aren't so much about you, but they're really about the person that you're trying to communicate with. And the old adage that what's in it for me is really needs to be applied. It's more blessed here to give than to receive in this aspect, because you're really trying to basically help more people than you're trying to really help yourself in like the traditional sales. Probably
That's right.
Yeah, and I think that's vital.
Yeah, because then you end up having the old Prel commercial. I think it was Prel. And I told two people, because when someone has a positive experience, they're going to share that.
Right, which is very vital to get shares. Let's talk about it. We've got a good little time here. Since, let's talk about actionable steps, because PMPs, we're very actionable. We're like, step one, step two, we're more task focused, I think, than we're strategy focused a lot of times. And that's, for us, it's very difficult to be strategy focused, thinking 5 years down the line, when we're dealing with, especially the solopreneurs. A lot of us are solopreneurs, and we need to, we're doing the banking, we're doing the accounting, we're doing the marketing, we're doing the technical work, and it's very hard for us to think in a strategy focus. But if we get a couple of actionable tactics that let's say if they went on LinkedIn today and they say, okay, I'm going to join this, see what this LinkedIn is about. What are some actionable steps that they can start taking and doing today, maybe 4 or 5, that they can say, okay, let's do this and let's see what happens?
Okay. Yeah, I would say the very first thing, create your company page. Very first thing. Make sure that you have your address in there and all of your location information. Then update it. Anything you've achieved over the last few years, any awards that you've been given, you can share reviews there. You can absolutely just copy and paste information or share a link. Please see my reviews here. The other thing is join groups. And there are probably 3 groups that I would recommend for anyone to join in this industry. Okay. The first one is PCO Business Solutions. This is more of your back-end management, how to do your accounting, how to do your marketing. It's a great resource for any PMP. The other is if you're moving into more of the food safety, there's a group called Food Safety and Pest Management. Okay. Great resource. In that group, what I've found is there are great training classes available for PMPs all over the country. People are posting all about them in there. Different ways to grow your business. And there's also the pest control group. And that I have found for a great resource on chemicals and applications and regulations and things like that. So that's why I like those 3 groups, because I think that they balance one another out, from growth to back-end management to front-end management. In those groups, connect with other peers. Find people within there that are similar to you that you can learn from, and ask them questions. I think people really do find they're flattered when you do that, and they're happier to share things with you. So those would be my biggest things. Then as far as posting, like I said, just any updates that you've got or things that you're proud of or questions that you've got about growing your business, about what kind of trainings are available to me, who has added wildlife management, and how has that turned out for you. By doing that, you're just helping to really grow your business. That is the purpose, I believe, of LinkedIn. Then another thing that you should do down the line, I wouldn't say that it's an immediate thing, but definitely has to be in your arsenal, is building your contacts. And within contacts, you have the ability to tag each contact, and you can create these tags. So you might create a tag that says target client, or existing client, or peer, or trainer, and then you can direct your conversation to a group privately without going on to the LinkedIn group. but you've created your own discussion group within
Gotcha.
your contacts.
Gotcha. Oh, that's really neat. I didn't know that we could do that with LinkedIn. So that's really neat.
Yeah.
That's awesome that
Yeah.
you can separate. Because I noticed that in LinkedIn, I look at a lot of people's profiles, and I notice they don't have that same amount of people they're connected with people that are actually following them, like you would on a Facebook page where you might have 10,000 likes, and you might only have 60 or 70 on LinkedIn. Why is that?
Because people, I honestly don't believe that they're using it to its fullest extent. I don't think that people are reaching out and trying to connect. And really, that's what LinkedIn is about. You're linking with others. And by building that, you're building a better resource for yourself. If anyone is interested in expanding on the ability to connect with other people, there is a program that you can download very easily. I think it's called Sales Loft, and that will enable you to pull connections from various groups. Because if you go into groups and you look at the members, it's only going to show you so many pages of members, and you'll be restricted to who you can link with.
Okay.
Through Sales Loft, it's a free platform that will allow you to send invitations to pretty much anybody. But I do encourage you not to connect with everybody. Really think about who you're connecting with and how it's going to benefit you and them.
Gotcha. So it's kind of the proverbial you're the sum total of the people you hang out with.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if you want to raise your A game, you're going to try to surround yourself on LinkedIn with people that can actually help you up, and the same way you can try to help other people up. So okay, and this is so this is an app that you can add at salesloft.com. We're going to put that in the show notes so people can have a link to it also on our platform. But now let's go a little bit beyond this. What has inspired you in social media to do what you do for other people, and is there resources that you also enjoy that help you in your social media?
Absolutely. And really what it came down to is there are so many people who are intimidated by social media, and I just think it's such a great opportunity for people to really engage with others, build your relationship with your clients, have a great, strong foundation, and learn from your clients. I think for me personally, that's the most important thing, because your business is no better than the clients that you have. And if you don't understand what they need and want, you really can't perform. So through social media, you can learn all of that. Well, I also need to keep up with learning and understanding how everything evolves. And social media changes several times every day. It's very challenging to keep up with it. So one of my resources, and my favorite one, is Social Media Examiner. They have incredible detailed articles about all the nuances of social media and everything that's coming about, and what they see as the next big thing. And I think that that's important, because everything changes. And as every generation becomes of age to become a new client, a new social media platform comes about. I mean, I look at my children, and they don't use Facebook a whole lot. Now, granted, they're young, but teens, but they're going to be the next client, and they're out there on Instagram and Snapchat and all of these other platforms. You got to learn about it. You got to keep up with it, and by using resources, that's how you'll do it.
Yeah, I noticed that with trying to reach the Gen Xers and now the Y generation, they're not really receptive to traditional marketing. They don't believe what they see on television. They believe what their friends tell them and what other people tell them. And I think trying to reach those Gen Xers, which I'm borderlining on a Gen Xer, but the newer generation, that Y generation, they're not really receptive to it.
No, and they need instant gratification.
Yeah.
So you've got to be monitoring your social channels. You have to be able to respond quickly, because if you don't, they've moved on.
Yeah, their attention spans are very, very short.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've experienced that. I've got a little 5-year-old and a 1-year-old, so I don't have a teenager in the house, and I got a 10-year-old in the house. So we're starting to see that. But when I talk to other kids, I've done a lot of work with youth and young people, and most definitely it's a totally different mindset from my mother and my father, which depend on television or radio for everything they do. And these younger people aren't. That's just the way that I see it, experiencing it with them. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there anything that we haven't discussed that maybe we should have asked or that I didn't ask that you would like to communicate in a couple of minutes that we have left?
I think the most important thing is that PMPs make time. Put aside 15 to 30 minutes a day. Listen to what's being said on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and get to know how you should be presenting yourself. Mm-hmm. And then start doing it. Start joining in the conversation and reaching out. And just find out what works. Yeah, experiment.
Yeah, a lot of us will procrastinate until we have a complete understanding of everything before we get involved. And I think that is very, to be actionable, to just start joining into the conversations and getting involved, and getting your feet wet in that area and experimenting. It's a great way to experiment because you almost can't fail if you're really getting involved. It's not like,
right.
Yeah, the ad failed and oh boy, we blew it, $100,000. I think I think this is more scalable for you as you go along to get involved and start doing something there.
Yes.
Excellent. Now, since you are a coach and you help a lot of people, how do people get in contact with you if they wanted to, for you to start helping them with their social media?
Sure. Well, they can call me anytime. My number is 303-960-8417. They can email me at Terri@HowToGoSocial.com, and that's Terri spelled Terri. And they can check out my website at HowToGoSocial.com.
Okay. Now, personally with you, what is your favorite social media site?
Oh, gosh. I love them all. And this is going to sound really funny, but I really like Google Plus.
Okay.
Because I think the SEO is phenomenal.
Yes.
The downside of that is that not many people join.
Right.
But when they Google something, they get your stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool because Google is Google. I mean, when you post something on there, it's out there.
Yes. Yeah, and it interacts very well with my YouTube channel, and also integrates very well with my blog, which I can put together with that. So that is really, really neat. Yeah, I've experienced that. Terri, thank you so much. I know that you are swamped, and you're swamped for a reason because you're good at what you do. And
thank you.
I really do appreciate the time you have invested. We want to make you an honorary member of the Pest Geek Society. So we're going to go ahead and send you your diploma in the email today, and you will be an honorary member on our website for the Pest Geek Society. How about that?
That's cool. So does that mean I geeked out?
You can geek out. Please do. I think you just did. You geeked out the whole way. Thank you so much.
Awesome, Frank. Thank you. This was a blast.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on board. And I hope maybe next time we can talk about another social platform that would help people grow. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Terri.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, there you have it, folks. This is another Pest Geek podcast. I hope you have enjoyed it, and it really does help you in growing your business. I like to talk to you. We're going to have all these show notes available on the podcast, and they'll be there at pestgeekpodcast.com. So in case you couldn't write down Terri's number or the information, it'll be there in the show notes. To let you know, we're also on iTunes. This program is being broadcast on iTunes, and for those who use other than an iPhone, we are on I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought here as I was talking to you. We're on Stitcher Radio. So there you go. So for those of you who use Android phones, we are on Stitcher Radio, and we have a segment of our podcast. We have a news feed that we get news from every reliable source that is available out there. We're talking PMP Magazine, PCT, Pest Control Technology. We also get information from the EPA, the CDC, and we get it from just about every major university entomological program that they can have. So you can find it all at one place at pestgeekpodcast.com. Also, you can get the Twitter feed if that's much easier for you. You can just subscribe to Twitter at pestgeekpodcast. It's all one word, at pestgeekpodcast. Look up us on Twitter, and you sign and you'll get all of those news feeds tweeted out daily. So any new product that comes out, any new technique, any new insect, you can stay up to date. Also, we added a new segment to the podcast where we discuss a cool tool. And we also put that in our podcast, on our website, at pestgeekpodcast.com. And I want to talk to you today about Mancar, the ultra low volume herbicide applicator. If you've experienced herbicide, if you're performing herbicide applications with non-selective herbicides, you know that with wind and certain plants that are next to it, you can cause some serious damage to plants. Well, with the Mancar ultra low volume herbicide applicator, you can apply a very close application to that area without having to overexpose other areas or have with what happens with wind drift. Now, it only weighs 6 pounds totally full, and you can do double the amount that you would initially do with your traditional backpack sprayer. So it weighs less than a gallon, the whole equipment full of chemical. It does a great product. You don't need to start doing a lot of refills, so you can cover much more. You can get this information at tools. If you go to pestgeekpodcast.com, the little link on tools, and then you will find that tool there. You can also use our search bar to look for Mancar. It's spelled Mankar. We look forward to hearing from you. Also, we have our telephone number on our website at pestgeekpodcast.com, and you can call into that number 24/7 and leave your questions or comments regarding the podcast, and we may use them on the air. So we thank you for participating, because this really is about you and for you. It's not really about us, and we want to help as many people as we can in the pest control industry just to stay on that killer edge and give them what they need to be able to build up their business, be able to grow their business, and even start their own pest control business if that's what they choose to do. So we thank you for listening. Until next time, this is Frank Hernandez, your Pest Geek. Thanks a lot, folks. See you next time. Thank you for listening to the Pest Geek Podcast. If you have enjoyed the Pest Geek Podcast, please give us a rating, write a review, or subscribe to the channel. You can join the Pest Geek Society by visiting pestgeekpodcast.com. Thank you for listening. See you next time.